Ni watu wangu, it's been a while na nimewamiss from the bottom of my heart. And I'm here today to give you a story of my life. But before I get into my story, si unajua hii kitu kama kawaida, hit the subscription button, that is if you haven't subscribed, like, share, watch the whole video and kindly leave a comment to let me know how you feel about my story. Now, tuingie moja kwa moja ndani ya hadithi. So it was in the year 2017 and I was out for teaching practice in a certain mixed day school. There's boys, girls, and so nilikuwa pale teaching practice. So, kama vile niliwaambia kitambo, ni mimi nimefanya education, so I am a teacher. So nikiwa pale teaching practice, the first days it was good, everything was working out well. Of course niko pale na lessons zangu ngapi per day? 2. Maisha yalikuwa London. You know, with 2 lessons per day, your life is perfect as a teacher. But of course wale waseni eti walikuwa wanataka kunikandamiza mimi kama upcoming teacher, chipukizi. So, my 2 lessons per day, the rest of the time I'm spending organizing my lessons, writing notes, doing serious things that teachers do, and of course even idling. And one of the teachers that tulikuwa tunafanya na yeye kazi pale, those teachers that have been employed by the government, akaniambia, hey mwalimu, na nimekusikia ukifundisha Kiswahili vizuri na nimependa kazi yako sana. So nakuomba hivi, kwa sababu mimi kidogo miaka imesonga na hizi lessons za asubuhi na zile za jioni kidogo zinanilemea, I am asking you to be attending my morning and evening lessons. You know, they are paid tuitions. Hapo nilikuwa nimefurahia sana. Why? Because of course, ukiwa pale teaching practice, you are broke like no man's business. And I was no exception. I was broke. So, 500 in the morning, punch ingine pale jioni. Of course, it was a good deal. So, nikakubali. I was teaching for him, ilikuwa nini? Kiswahili pale form 3 and form 4. Mimi lessons zangu, ukiwa teaching practice, unapatiwa classes ngapi? 2. Form 1 and form 2. Labda sasa mfanye arrangement na mse mwingine akupatia the other classes. So nimepatiwa form 3 and 4. And that's a good deal because anyway, kwa nini ndio tunafanya pale? Kusoma tu kama kawaida. So I used to attend these lessons. It was good and all. So, you know, form 3s, I'm sure all of you know form 3s. And you know how they are like. Those human beings, it's as if they have, nitaita aje, existential crisis. Whilst you're form 2s, now whilst you're form 4s, form 2s have their own special problems. They are hyper. It's as if wamedungwa dose ya sijui ni nini. They're like crazy people. All over. They're the ones who strike. They're the noisiest. They're the ones who are doing everything that they should not be doing. Monolizing those in form 1, rebelling against the teachers, rebelling against every law that has been set by the school. Those are form 2s for you. Form 4s have already started waking up from their slumber. So, mtu anajua nikicheza kidogo hapa nitaanguka mtihani. But the form 3s, my good God, form 3s, hey, wale watu sijui shida yao kwa nini. Utapata mtoto akona afro yake kubwa, haioshwi, haichanwi. Akona viatu, amevalia pea 2, hakuna amevalia pea azifanani. Those are the form 3s. So now I'm given this class in one of the evenings, and of course I want to get my money and I also want to teach. So I attend one of these classes. Jioni pale nimeenda, tunasoma kitabu kinaitwa Mshtaiki Mea. Tunachambua muktadha wa dondoo. And I think I was like 20 minutes into the lesson. And then in a class of 45. So there are 45 kids in that class. Kidogo, tukiwa tunaongea kuhusu powerful things, serious things, lesson is flowing properly, I'm feeling good about everything. Kidogo naona kijana amesimama. ametoka pale row ya katikati. Wacha tumpatie jina Frank. Frank. So Frank gets from his seat and he comes towards me. So of course, I would assume that maybe he wants to maybe walk out of the class, something like that. I mean, that's allowed. The child wants to go out to the washroom or something. So this young man comes towards me. Sasa shida inaingilia wapi? Pale anaanza kubadilisha walking style. And when he stood up, the entire class went quiet. Quiet. Kijana ndiye yule pale ananisongea. And then of course I looked at him. He started behaving funny. Akaanza kubadilisha sura na akarudi hata akaanza kubadilisha walking style. So ako sasa na nitaita aje miondoko ya ajabu, bouncing, doing things like this, coming towards me. Ameanza hata kufanya vitu kwa uso. Looking at him and, at this time, sincerely speaking, I'm very concerned. What could be happening with this young man? I mean, it's the middle of a lesson. There's nothing that I could have done, or maybe anyone in that class could have done to make this person behave the way he's behaving. But our dearest Frank is here behaving in a funny way. So he comes and then anasimama pale, ananiangalia. Hey, teacher, unajua, mimi kuna kitu nilikuwa nataka kukuambia. Like, go on. Haongei, ananisongea. Anataka kukanyagisha miguu yake na yangu. Agongeshe pua yake na pua ya mwalimu. My good God. Tell me crisis. And you know what that one means for a teacher? So this young man is misbehaving in class and the entire class is quiet. So mimi sasa ndio nilikuwa nimejiingiza kwa crime scene. Inakaa ni deal walikuwa wamepanga as a class to test the upcoming teacher, mwalimu chipukizi, waone pale nguvu zake zinafika. So I decided I shall not participate in this group madness. I looked at him. I looked at the entire class. I saw everybody was eagerly waiting to see what I was supposed to do. But what did I do instead? I took my books, closed them nicely, turned and left the class. Why should I participate in teenage insanity? Me? No, thank you. So I left. Nikatembea kidogo and then, there's that silence. Unasikianga darasani. Few steps out of the class, I had a roar of laughter. So wale watoto walikuwa wamenipangia kunihumiliate darasani. Nikatoka polepole. I got into the staff room. I put the books away. I took my bag and went home. Because it was evening. Kama vile nishakwambia, these ones are evening classes. And then it was a one-streamed school. So niko pale mimi na form 3, kuna mwalimu mwingine mmoja form 4, form 1 na 2 walikuwa wanafundishwa lessons za asubuhi peke yake, jioni wanaenda nyumbani mapema. So there are only like 2 teachers in the school, me and the other teacher who is in form 4. Mimi sasa nishaenda nyumbani, nikaacha watu wafanye vile walikuwa wamepanga. So I went home thinking about exactly what had happened. And sincerely speaking, I was feeling very bad. I was feeling that shouldn't have happened. I was feeling embarrassed. I was trying to, just think about it. So nikaenda nyumbani too, and then of course the next day I come back to school, continue with my normal business. I'm not sharing this story, this incident with anyone. And then the next day nikasema, I've already made a few friends, so let me talk to someone and see how this goes. I had a friend, wacha tumuite Kate, a fellow teacher. Nikaita huyu mwalimu kando, tumuite Kate, nikampigisha story, nikamwambia, wacha nikwambie my friend. Juzi nikaingia form 3. Can I tell you what they did? Nikamwelezea. Now let me tell you something. Huyu mwalimu alinisimulia hadithi zake za a different school. Now she also had experiences of her own, but now in a different school. And then I realized, wow. So we teachers are getting harassed by kids. And it's like, no one is even talking about it. Why? Because one, when you mention that kids are misbehaving, utaambiwa wewe hauna class control. You know, kids can do weird things and it all goes down to the teacher. What were you doing, mwalimu? Why did you provoke those young men? You know, they were behaving like that because perhaps you did something suggestive. But no one ever talks about the misbehavior that these children could be having. So this lady gives me a story of how she also, when she was in a different school, the children treated her in a very bad way. Wali is even worse than mine. So ako pale darasani on one of the evenings doing tuition, anafundisha watoto pale, mwalimu wa geography, hammering very powerful points. Then wanafunzi ni kama hata walikata stima wenyewe, so stima ikapotea. You know, when they go there to the main switch and they switch it off just to make sure that they put you in a very difficult situation. And so they harassed this teacher in the darkness. She ran away, literally. And she never went back to that school. Hata pesa yake hakuendea, in fact. And can I tell you something? This is not the only story that teachers have of learners harassing and embarrassing them. This is one of the few stories that you will ever hear. Ni nyingi. Teachers are being harassed by kids all over. And sometimes we think it's a joke, but it's not. So this made me think of many other incidents of where children behave in a way that kidogo, it makes people very uncomfortable, in a way that can cause disaster, even for everyone around them. Achana hata na kuharass walimu. They even harass each other. How many times have we heard of kids being bullied in school and even dying in school? Remember, there are two incidents that happened many years ago and they still have left a permanent mark among the people in our country. Remember kulikuwa na ile story ya St. Cyprian Kizito. Do you remember that story? I'm sure most people can remember the story. It happened, I think in 1990, I think it was in 97. Yeah, in 97. So the St. Cyprian Kizito story, where the boys wanted to strike. They wanted to strike together with the girls. It was a mixed boarding school, but the girls were not cooperating with them. And so the boys decided, nyinyi hamtujui vizuri, sisi, we are going to work on you thoroughly. So the boys raped 71 girls and killed many others. All right. The second incident is the incident of the school in Machakos called, I think, Changuli. And wale wanafunzi, they decided they disliked their prefects and they are going to torch them. And apparently in this school, the boys walikuwa the prefects walikuwa wanakaa in their own dorm. So these kids who are feeling like the prefects had offended them in some way, wakaenda pale, they torched the dorm and 63 boys died. I remember some time back, tulienda kutembea kwa hiyo shule and there was a mass grave for all those kids. And this made me, you know, now years later, like now, that's when I'm now thinking, what exactly is wrong with our society? Ni watoto wako na shida? Ni sisi walimu? Ni wazazi ama ni nani? Or perhaps we are just broken as a society and I shouldn't be blaming anyone for that matter. But there are some questions that we need to be asking ourselves. What could be broken in us? How is it that children can just behave in such a way? And of course, I don't expect anyone to be at yakosawa na hiyo what is happening, but that tells us the nature of our souls. I'm not saying this so that anyone can give up or anything, but I think we need to go back to talking to our children, to even praying for them and such things. And of course, everyone who has been affected by bad behaviors in school, I'm very sorry. And I'm also sorry for myself that I ever experienced that. But let's not give up on them. We keep talking to them, keep encouraging them to behave better, and hope by all means that all of them are just going to become better people. And now that children are out for holidays, tafadhali wewe kama mzazi pale uko na mtoto wako nyumbani, usije ukajiambia ati huyo mtu ni mmachua sana. They can do the most weird things that you've ever heard of. So that's it. Yeah, so that's it from me, guys. That is my story. And nawapenda. From me, it's bye-bye and see you next time.